Hello again, my fellow idle miners. This is Rob, the Idlest miner. We're back in mine 1 today. We're going to continue along and we're going to try and make it to 1,000 in each of the warehouse and elevator, and then down in mine shaft 10, I believe, is where we are right now. We're going to stay there and we're going to try and get that up to 500. And the reason for this is doing so, we're going to be able to skip past the next 2 barriers. So we're going to finish this barrier that we're currently waiting on, and then after that, the following 2 barriers are going to be skipped, and we're going to go straight down to mine shaft 25. And that's where we're going to do our next little bit of work. So I apologize in advance today for this video. It is going to be a little bit boring. You're just going to be watching me reach those couple milestones. But I wanted to be 100% transparent with what happens here. I didn't want to do any editing out or cutting of any footage. I wanted to be able to show real time what happens. So doing this next step here, as you can see, I'm increasing stuff little by little, 10 levels at a time. And once we reach about the 500 or 600 mark, you can start increasing those levels 50 at a time. And then back down on the mine shaft 10, those will just be consistently upgrading 10 levels at a time. I do have that executive walking speed boost manager going. That is the best speed boost to be using right now. Those manager boosts only really come into play in this first mine, and afterwards you'll see once we go through the next mine in mine 2 and we're using that first super manager, he's really the only manager that you'll ever really be using from here on out, with the exception of having managers in place just to keep your mine shafts running. But the abilities don't really need to be used at all. You see I am using a couple of the discount ones on the top there for the elevator and warehouse. Those are just to help speed things along a little bit. I'm not being too picky with those. Obviously you can speed this up more if you would like by searching out those executive discount managers. But I just feel that in all my experience and all my time going through these, they're just not really needed. I mean, the gain you get from using them is so little in these gem mines that it's just, I don't really want to waste my time with it. So that's my 2 cents in there. And talking a little bit more about those managers, it's kind of funny how I don't know what exactly is going on, but I've done a lot of kind of research with those managers, and it seems like at times, depending on the level of the mine shaft that they're in, the walking speed boost is sometimes the best one to use, and then other times I could have sworn I got a larger boost from the mining speed increase. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but I did do a little bit of testing where everything was at max levels. So the mine shafts were at 800 and the elevator and warehouse were both at their max levels at 2400. And I kind of placed all the managers in there, the junior ones, the senior ones, and the executive ones. And I kind of watched for what the boosts, how much the boosts gave to their total extraction. And it was really interesting doing that, and I would highly suggest you do that as well. I could just tell you which ones are the best ones, but what's the fun in that, you guys? Honestly. Unless you want me to do that. I can do that. I have all that stuff written down and saved. But again, going back to my original statement, they're not really used after this first mine 1 completion. Those super managers are just too good to not be using those, and when those are recharging, thankfully they only need a half-hour recharge. There is one that only needs a 15-minute recharge, and I just find myself using those, and the only executive managers that I would use in the continents would be the discount one. All the other ones are really irrelevant, I feel, once you get those super managers, just because they are so almost overpowered at times, and that's both a good thing and a bad thing, depending on your playing style. Some people may find that the game gets boring. I find that it gets more challenging because you need to figure out the best way to use them and how to use them efficiently, and pairing them up with different boosts. A lot of the managers do get those boosts do come into play when you're using those super managers, and if you're not using the add boost in conjunction with them, you're not getting the most out of them. And there's plenty of times where I have forgotten to put a boost on, or forgotten to watch the add boost, and you can definitely tell that you're missing out with those. So as you can see, the warehouse and elevator have reached 750 each, and I have started increasing those 50 at a time, and so those are progressing very quickly. The mineshaft 10, we're only looking at 360, and we got about 2 minutes left on that manager. I do believe we finished that before he runs out. So hopefully coming to an end here pretty soon with this first section, and then at the end of the video you'll see I do skip over those barriers like I talked about, and there's a couple ways you can do that. I ended up using some super cash. As you see, I have a nice little pile of super cash. I always save my super cash for the event mines, and funnily enough, I rarely even use it in those as well. So I find I always have a stockpile of super cash, and that really helps going through those barriers quickly in those event mines, as well as in these gem mines, if you choose to do so. A lot of times I don't, unless I'm in a playing session where I have time to play and I want to get the most out of that playing session. Most of the time I'll just let the clock run out, and I'll do something else in the meantime while I'm waiting for that barrier, because once you start using super managers, you will find that you max out all of these mineshaft levels, and then you could still be waiting on that barrier. However, the skill tree does allow you to decrease the barrier unlocking time. In the ice cache levels, you can do upgrades. I believe you can do upgrades twice to it, and get that time significantly down. Currently, I have my barriers down quite a bit, to where the first barrier that you unlock after mineshaft 5 to get to 6, I believe only takes like 40 minutes now. I don't remember exactly what it started at, but now I can just watch 2 ads and I'm through that barrier and continuing on with my playing. So that's really nice upgrades in that ice cache skill tree, and I would highly recommend that be one of the first ones that you start upgrading, as well as other ones. And I plan to do a whole skill tree video and explain the in and out of the skill trees, and what to upgrade and what to wait on, what matters really and what doesn't matter. So I was away for about 20 minutes waiting for that barrier to unlock, and we're going to scroll down and unlock that as soon as I remove that manager for some reason. So unlocking that barrier, and we're going to be able to work our way down. We're not going to worry about any of these mine shafts and just continue on to the next barrier. I'm going to watch those 2 ads, and I won't make you watch them as well. So those are out of the way, and we are down to 1 hour and 28 minutes left. Unfortunately, I have to wait another hour before we get that next ad, but we're not going to wait for that. Like I said, we're going to spend some super cash and get through this barrier real quick. So there we go. And we're going to continue to work our way down to mine shaft 20. And we're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to watch the ads real quick. I'm going to clip those out. So those are the only things you're missing from this video, not watching those ads. And again, we got to wait an hour. We're not going to do that. I'm going to spend some more super cash for you guys and get on through. And almost there. We are down to 25. And starting that next barrier to unlock, this is where we're going to do our next little bit of work. And this is also where we are going to max out everything to 800 before we finish off with the last 5 levels. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Keep mining, everyone.